A husband threw a cake in his wife's face, an act of pure humiliation, just because she refused to pay the bill at a pricey, high-end restaurant. But what happened next? It stunned everyone. You won't believe the shocking twist that followed. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and drop a comment to let us know where you're watching from. Jessica Williams stepped into the elegant and expansive gallery hall, the sound of her heels tapping softly against the polished marble floors. The room around her was alive with glittering gowns and impeccably tailored suits. The intoxicating blend of high-end perfumes filled the air, mixing with the subtle notes of jasmine and amber. This was her world, the world of high society, lavish charity galas, and business mixers. She glided through the crowd, exchanging polite smiles and nods with those she recognized. But beneath her immaculate exterior, something lingered, a familiar ache. She was often seen merely as a figurehead, a symbol of her family's wealth and legacy, rather than as the individual she truly was. Her father, Edward Williams, had risen from nothing to build a vast financial empire, while her mother, Camille, was an influential art collector, both icons in their own right. Jessica had inherited her parents' sharp intellect and her mother's eye for detail, but with those gifts came the heavy burden of their name. Every success she achieved in her career as an investment strategist was dismissed by critics as a mere result of nepotism. And every misstep was scrutinized, as if it reflected a failing of her family's reputation. As she reached for a glass of champagne from a passing server, her attention was pulled toward a man standing across the room. He stood tall, his features sharp, with a confidence that seemed out of place amid the sea of stiff formality around him. Their gazes met, and he flashed a crooked, genuine smile that sent a shiver down her spine. His smile was disarming, and she could feel her heart quicken in response. He didn't seem like he belonged here, and that only intrigued her more. "Jessica Williams," he said smoothly as he walked toward her, extending his hand. His voice was deep, warm, and laced with a hint of mischief. "You're a hard woman to miss in a crowd." She tilted her head, intrigued. "And you are?" "Stephen Daniels," he replied with a playful wink. "Just a humble architect trying to blend in at a fancy gala." Jessica couldn't help but chuckle, feeling the tension of the evening ease, his casual charm a refreshing contrast to the rigid formalities she was so accustomed to. The rest of the evening was spent talking, laughing, and finding common ground in their shared love of modern art and cityscapes. Stephen spoke passionately about his work designing community spaces and revitalizing urban neighborhoods, and Jessica found herself captivated by his vision. Over the following weeks, Stephen became a consistent presence in her life. Unlike most people who were intimidated by her success or her family's wealth, he seemed unfazed, at least that's how it appeared. He made her laugh, listened to her frustrations about her work, and treated her as a person, not a brand or a symbol. It didn't take long for Jessica to find herself falling for him, despite the cautious warnings from her friends and family. Her best friend Angela, ever the skeptic, had voiced her concerns from the start. "Jess, he's charming, sure, but something's off. He seems way too eager, like he's trying to prove something." Jessica shrugged off her worries. "Not everyone's out to get me, Angie. Maybe he just likes me for me." Her parents, though more subtle in their skepticism, were no less doubtful. During a dinner at their grand estate, her father had pressed Stephen with pointed questions about his career and background. His tone was polite but probing, and though Stephen answered with ease, Jessica noticed the tightness in his jaw. Later, Stephen dismissed it with a laugh. "I'm not here to impress your dad. I'm here for you." Despite the whispers of doubt, Jessica was smitten. Stephen proposed less than a year after they met, and she accepted without a second thought. The wedding was a grand affair, held in the sprawling gardens of her family's estate. Every detail was perfect, at least it was from her perspective. Stephen, on the other hand, seemed more focused on the guest list, pushing to invite influential people he claimed could help him expand his business. On the surface, everything appeared idyllic, but beneath the surface, cracks began to form. Throughout the wedding planning, Stephen clashed with Jessica over everything, from the menu choices to the seating arrangements. Whenever she disagreed with him, he accused her of being controlling. It was her mother, Camille, who first voiced what Jessica had been trying to suppress. "Darling, are you sure about this?" Camille asked softly one morning as they stood together in the bridal suite. "You don't have to go through with it if you're having second thoughts." Jessica shook her head, brushing off her mother's concern. "Mom, it's just nerves. Stefan is a good man. He loves me." Her mother sighed, but said no more. Her expression unreadable. The ceremony itself was beautiful, and for a fleeting moment, Jessica allowed herself to believe in the fairy tale. As she stood beside Stefan, exchanging vows beneath a canopy of roses, she pushed aside the nagging doubts. This was her chance at happiness, a partnership built on love and mutual respect, or so she thought. As the reception drew to a close and the guests began to leave, Jessica noticed Stefan engaged in an animated conversation with a group of men she didn't recognize. She overheard snippets of their conversation, enough to realize he was using the wedding as a networking opportunity, pitching his projects to influential figures. Her chest tightened with unease, but she told herself it didn't matter. This was just his way of contributing, of proving he belonged in her world. That night, as they left for their honeymoon, Stefan held her hand tightly and whispered promises of a future filled with love and adventure. Jessica wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe she had made the right choice. But as the plane took off, leaving behind everything she knew, a small voice inside her whispered, "Am I flying toward happiness? Or am I heading straight for disaster?" She silenced the voice, determined to make her marriage work. After all, love was about compromise, wasn't it? Little did she know just how much she would be asked to compromise, and how much it would ultimately cost her. Their honeymoon began in Paris, a city Jessica had always loved. Hand in hand, they strolled along the Seine, exploring the hidden corners of Montmartre and indulging in decadent French cuisine. It felt like a dream. Stefan was attentive, affectionate, and endlessly charming. He made her laugh with his attempts to speak French and listen intently as she shared memories of visiting the city with her parents when she was younger. For a brief moment, Jessica allowed herself to believe in the fairy tale, convincing herself that her doubts were nothing more than pre-wedding jitters, magnified by the opinions of those around her. But even before their bags were unpacked, the cracks in their relationship started to show. On their second night in Paris, Jessica chose a sleek black dress and a pair of heels her mother had gifted her. She felt elegant, confident, ready for a night out. But when Stefan saw her, his lips curled into a smile. Yet, his words carried a subtle,